Is Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory actually Dante's Inferno? Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is a classic children's story. It seems like a delightful romp through a magical candy factory, but is it actually a trip to hell? Now, before we ruin your childhood, it's helpful to know about Dante's Inferno, one of the most famous poems ever written. The author, Dante, is led by a guide through the different levels of hell until he eventually meets Satan, a three-headed beast with bat wings frozen in ice. In the Inferno, Charon, the boatman of hell, ferries Dante across the river Acheron and into the underworld. This is only slightly less disturbing than Willy Wonka's psychedelic boat ride into the factory.
Are the fires of hell a-glowing? Is the grisly reaper mowing? Yes, the danger must be growing, for the rowers keep on rowing, and they're certainly not showing any signs that they are slowing!
And that's not even a metaphor. He's describing a literal descent into hell. In Dante's Inferno, each level of hell is designed to punish a particular sin in a way that's related to the sin itself. Meanwhile, at Wonka's factory, children are also punished according to their sins. Augustus Gloop is so gluttonous for chocolate that he almost drowns in a river of it. Greedy Veruca Salt falls down a trash chute chasing a golden egg. Mike TV is so obsessed with TV that he actually shrinks himself to fit in one. Violet committed theft when she stole the experimental gum that turned her into a giant blueberry. At the end of Charlie's journey through the factory, he gets into a glass elevator and flies off into the sky. At the end of the Inferno, Dante climbs up the body of Satan himself and ascends to heaven. Is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory really a trip to a candy-filled playland, or a warning to children that if they don't clean up their act, they're going straight to hell? What do you think? Stephen King's written almost 100 books, featuring thousands of characters and hundreds of worlds. But is it possible that everyone from Andy Dufresne to Pennywise the Clown exist in the same universe? The Dark Tower is King's longest and arguably most epic masterpiece, taking place in an alternate dimension known as the Midworld. It's also the key to unlocking the massive shared universe he's created. Start with Randall Flagg, one of King's most iconic villains, who's famous as the cruel and sadistic demon from The Stand.
He's a righteous man.
However, he also appears in the Midworld as the Man in Black, a servant of the Crimson King. And Flagg isn't the only classic King villain to appear in the Tower series. Roland the Gunslinger also faces off against Dandello, who turns into a clown once he's killed, and is widely believed to have become Pennywise. The same Pennywise who once terrorized the children of Derry, Maine, which is also the location of the alien invasion from Dreamcatcher, and is one of the main settings in the novel 11/22/63, in which people repeatedly express their fear of being locked up in Shawshank, the same prison from the Shawshank Redemption, where we know that Andy Dufresne plotted one of the world's most improbable jailbreaks. And before he was locked up in Shawshank, Dufresne worked in a bank where he sold stocks to Kurt Sander, the Nazi war criminal who's featured in Apt Pupil. But what does all this mean? What's the overriding force that's linking all of these worlds together, other than their shared author? The Shop is a secret government organization that is repeatedly referenced in King's various stories and books. They're responsible for everything from ripping open the hole between dimensions that unleashed the monsters in The Mist, to giving Charlie her powers in Firestarter. They constantly experiment with thinnies, weak spots between realities that can be torn open. And what other prominent Stephen King world features thinnies? The Midworld in Dark Tower. By repeatedly tearing open holes that link other dimensions and realities, The Shop has created a world in which all of King's characters exist together. So if the Midworld is the nexus that connects all of King's creations, from his greatest heroes to his most horrifying villains, then does that mean we could one day see an ultimate battle of good versus evil between all of his characters? Could Danny Torrance one day team up with the Gunslinger to take down the vampires from Salem's Lot and Leatherheads from Under the Dome? Who would emerge triumphant as King's most powerful character? And more importantly, would anything be left standing after their final battle?
Here's Johnny.
What do you think?
Thank you.